Your specific person just manifested you manifesting them. And the reason I know this is because since the beginning of time, and definitely since the beginning of your manifestation, everything has always been working out in your favor. Everything has been showing up positive. Your specific person has always been chasing after you, whether you saw it or not. Remember, our reality is always reflecting our assumptions, and this absolutely never ends. And so the problem, if you will, is not that we need to change our reality. It's not that we need to alter it or have our specific person show up differently for us or do different things or like us or chase after us. They're already ready and waiting to do that. What we actually just need to change is our own assumptions and our own interpretations or values that we're placing on our reality. That's actually the only thing stopping us from seeing how your specific person is actually manifesting you to manifest them. But sometimes, obviously, during the process, they may not do it perfectly, and that's why we might have worries or doubts or fears that kind of come in our way. For example, one of the things that limits our manifestation or just stops us from accepting our reality, so accepting our specific person into our reality or into our life or in order to chase us, basically understanding that is happening, is our view in our reality, or actually the view that we perceive or have on ourselves. So it's not that we don't believe our specific person likes us or chases us. It's not that we don't believe this reality is not ours or can't happen. It's the values that we're actually placing on ourselves. It's that we feel as if we shouldn't deserve it, or we feel as if that can't happen, or we think that our specific person is doing something else. It always begins and ends with our assumptions and the values we place on everything. So in essence, your reality is showing you exactly what we want, but if we aren't caring to look at it or perceive it for as it is, we're going to totally and completely misunderstand it. And I can actually give you a couple examples of this happening. So the first example is of someone who again shows their specific person is manifesting them, but if we don't see it, we'll completely miss it. So this individual was manifesting their SP and had a lot of fantastic and amazing movements. Their specific person kept asking to meet up with them or to hang out with them, but, and here's what happened, this individual was too nervous to actually meet up with their specific person, so they kept making excuses as to why they shouldn't meet up. And this happened over and over and over again, obviously with my thought process trying to show them the truth that their specific person is literally pursuing and chasing after them. Finally, they reached a point in which they could not make any more excuses towards the outcome, met up with their specific person, and everything went flawlessly. And on the surface, we would say, well, duh, right? We would say, of course their specific person likes them. It's so obvious. It's so in your face in that moment. But remember, this is not what that individual saw. This individual saw other things. They had different values upon their reality. They were nervous, they were stressed, they were anxious, they were still wondering whether or not their specific person actually liked them. And so this is what's happening in your reality, but because we are emotionally invested in it, we start to change the values that we have. Meaning, instead of seeing it as my specific person is chasing me or my specific person is manifesting me, we start to think, I'm so anxious. What if I mess up? I'm nervous. Maybe I'm looking too much into this. Our mind starts to accidentally work against us, which then means there's nothing to change in our external reality. It's already working perfectly. It's just the values that we place upon our reality or the sight that we need to open up to in order to understand your specific person is manifesting you right now, whether you think so or not. But I actually have another example of this occurring, and all of these happened within the last week. So this is not something that's a one-off. This isn't something that's unique or very difficult or rare. It's something that, again, I guarantee is happening in your reality too. So I had another individual who their specific person asked them, hey, we're busy. Can we schedule 4 days out of 7 days in order to meet up each and every week. I want to see you way more often. And before I go into the story, what are your thoughts on that? Comment that down below. What would you think in relation to that outcome? It would probably be a very positive emotion. But what got this person, and again, it's perfectly fine to have these thoughts on our reality because there's going to be a million other options or opportunities if you feel you've done something like this in the past, because you can never mess up your manifestation. But the word schedule got them. When their recipe said to schedule 4 days out of 7, they were thinking that the word schedule was very superficial, or was it very emotional, or was it very deep? It felt as if they were just a part of their schedule and not something or someone whom they loved or desired. Now, in essence, then, we know their specific person, and we can all agree on this, was chasing after them, is pursuing them, is obsessed with them, wants to see them more often, and is probably using this as an excuse in order to see them. But when we have particular assumptions or values on our reality, that starts to impact everything. When we have values that scheduling is something superficial or not very emotional, that's when we begin to perceive a reality that isn't actually true and is actually working against us. But your reality can never work against you. That's where I guarantee your specific person is manifesting you. Your specific person is chasing after you. Your specific person is pursuing you. Your reality must be positive because remember, your reality is created of your higher self or your God state. That's the only ingredient that it can be created from. And so if we think about it from that perspective, how could anything outside of you be negative, right? It's just our own assumptions because we have the power to alter the view in our reality. Now, we can never miscreate in the negative, although it does seem that way. Again, it's all an illusion. But we can, because we have the power of creation, we can misperceive our reality. And that's the illusion that ends up happening. Now, again, if you feel like you've done something like this, or you've been in that situation where your specific person is chasing after you, but you felt like you didn't see it and might have did something that kind of pushed it away, remember, there's actually no problem. It's not changing the fact, and you could never change the fact, that your reality is working for you. Your reality is always helping you. Your specific person is chasing you. Your specific person is pursuing you. They want you. They're manifesting that you manifest them. Always keep that in mind. That is not changed. Nothing is altered by thinking of it in a negative way or worrying about it or anything of that nature. And so what I want you to do in order to get into this feeling of understanding your own power, anytime you notice something bad happening in your reality, I want you to ask yourself this following question. If everything is already good, what's the gift here? So again, if I know everything outside of me is good, what's the gift here? What is good about this? What's great about this particular instance? And you'll find that when you act on this power of presupposition, meaning this question implies what you are trying to achieve, your mind will immediately and automatically create answers that align with it. As well as this, what I want you to do at the end of each day, write down what good had happened throughout the day, whether big or small, and what you felt you couldn't accept. So if there was something, again, if we had this idea of if everything was already good, what's good about what's happening here? And you change your mind on something that happens, at the end of the day, I want you to write down all of the good things that are occurring, everything that you feel is making your reality work out in your favor, and then kind of write down what we might not have been able to accept, right? What did our mind immediately reject? And that's going to tell you a lot of your own assumptions in your reality, again, that are not changing anything, but just not allowing you to see how the bridge of events and how your manifestation and a specific person is always working towards you. Also, anytime you feel tension or unworthiness or any negative sensation or any negative worry on your reality, I want you to do the stoplight check. So you're basically going to term yourself under a red light, a caution light, yellow light, or a green light. So the red is the assuming unworthiness, and at that point, if you are in a red light, assuming something is negative, assuming something is working against you, not under the assumption that everything is working out for you, you want to pause. You want to take a moment and stop and ask yourself that original question, what's great about this? If everything is good, why is this actually working out in my favor? And I don't want you to continue doing anything until you've completely paused and altered or asked yourself that question. Now, the second option is it's a yellow light, so you are just noticing it and shifting. There's nothing technically to do, but in the yellow light, I would become more aware, meaning when we're starting to feel slightly unworthy, if we're kind of in the middle, just become aware, because the yellow light is actually where we change our sense of assumption and begin to change our values, because it is the slight difficulty or slight challenge that we are being offered when we see things that are working against us, and when we're able to shift them, that is actually the most monumental and powerful way to shift your emotions. Or you're at a green light in which you are assuming worthiness, and that's all good and you don't have to change anything. That's where you felt the unworthiness, but your mind immediately flipped to what is actually working out for you, or why this is actually great, and how your reality is and always will be bringing you exactly what you want in the positive, whether you believe so or not. So with all of this being said, if you did have any questions or anything like that, make sure to comment them down below. I also want you to comment what you believe is really positive that's happening in your reality right now that you may not notice. Maybe you comment, my specific person is pursuing me. My specific person is getting ready to text me. My specific person just bought our engagement ring. Whatever it is that you know is actually happening, but we might be under the illusion to not see it, comment that down below, and that will start the contemplation process. Because just like I showed in those two examples earlier, our reality can be working perfectly for us, but we can fall under the illusion that it's not and reject. No, we're not changing anything, but we accidentally reject these positives in our reality, but it doesn't change anything. If your specific person bought the engagement ring, you can ignore it all you want. They still bought the engagement ring and are ready to propose to you. That is not changing. Our physical reality never changes from positive. It's just our values and our assumptions, or this illusion that changes. So make sure to comment that down below. As well as this, if you wanted to comment a question or a thought or a success that you didn't want to post publicly, make sure to head over to kyleaugustcoaching.com. And as always, if you know your reality is so much better than you might be assuming at this current moment, you just might not see it yet, leave a thumbs up on this video, and then don't forget to subscribe, because I want to see or hear about all of your amazing manifestations and all your successes as you're manifesting your specific person. Again, huge shout out to all the subscribers, a massive shout out to all my members, and I can't wait to see you in my next video tomorrow.